And those were, of course, the live pictures coming through from the Stade Al Medina, where we've just witnessed the Democratic Republic of Congo securing themselves a convincing 3-0 victory against the Zebras of Zimbabwe. With this victory, they finish second out in Group D, behind, of course, Senegal, who finished first, which means that it is going to be a clash in the round of 16 for the DRC up against Algeria, the North Africans. Let me bring in my analyst, though, who with me throughout the entire game to just unpack what we've witnessed in the 90 minutes. And Dipsy, I'll start with you. As a legend of the game from Botswana, this is the team that you fought hard for, were prepared to die for in the field of play. When you look at its entirety, the tournament that they've had, the game they had today, what would you say are those positive takeaways?
It's a tough one, to be honest. I mean, if we are to be brutally honest, then it might cause more harm than good. But the good side would be that today, at least, the shape and the deployment of the players was a lot better. If you look at the first 15 minutes, it looked like it might be an even game. I think as the game progressed, they gave up in terms of trusting the shape, the 4 and with the 2 sitting and the 3 creative midfielders. If you have the 4 and the 2 sitting, ultimately you are defending with 6, and then others will screen in front. They are attacking players can also double roll. But I think they lost hope along the way from the system and the deployment. But it looked like, on a positive side, for 20 minutes, it looked like it might be a fair game. But we must give it to DRC. They made their own tactical changes. As Doc said, they also inverted inside to play the double pass, to draw the defenders, which was a good move. They were patient with the ball. It's testing to the heart and the mind. I hope Botswana has learned the experience and the levels, and there's something to look forward to. If you look at some of their ages, I mean, they're, 27, 28? Maybe you can make it to the next qualification. But with Lusika Ratsukudu, who's very young, this was a real taste of what real football looks like. So hopefully he can go tell his brothers in Botswana to work extra hard.
What real football looks like at the biggest stage in the continent, which is the Africa Cup of Nations. Of course, Botswana, this only their second showing at the Continental Showpiece, and they've never gotten out of the group stage. Dr. Steenbok, I'll then bring you in when we look at those full-time stats coming through from this encounter between Botswana as well as DR Congo. Your thoughts?
Yeah, total domination. If you check, for example, shots on target, a little bit higher from the DRC. But also, again, I mean, crosses played in the box. Some of those crosses were really top quality crosses. I mean, the one for Mayele, which was disallowed, I think for an extended hand. And of course, the biggest stat that we discussed a lot with Dipsy today was the ball recovered. A clear sign of a team that out of possession, they still have the energy to chase, to get back, even if they were still leading 2-0, 3-0, So this was a good sign of a superior team, but still a team that has the energy and also the intention to always do the right thing. So from those stats, you can really see that they were superior, but they were superior because they put in the hard work which was needed today.
And of course, you look at the two teams coming into Mdlalo Namhlanje. We saw the Zebras of Botswana coming out with 5 changes to their starting 11. We thought it was going to change the application of the game. The DRC coming in with the 7 changes to their starting 11. And this is basically how it ends out in Group D. It is Senegal up in top spot with 7 points, a +6 goal difference, followed by the Democratic Republic of Congo, also owns 7 with a +4 goal difference there. Benin going to possibly go through as one of the 4 best placed third finishers. And unfortunately for the Zebras of Botswana, -7 goal difference there. Nothing to register in terms of points looking at this edition of the Africa Cup of Nations. And Dipsy really just trying to find some positives and some good moments. But the good moments certainly came through on the side of the Democratic Republic of Congo. And we speak to this first goal here in the 31st, Mbuku, assisted by Kakuta.
Yeah, again, we spoke about this, the ability of DRC to rotate play. But again, Mbuku is lopsided, finds Kakuta, who then decides to play a back heel there. But we were very, very critical of the center back there. Like in a situation like this, please get injured at least whilst you are fighting. You know, be a warrior there. But if you check there, he pulled out right inside the box, you know, so this was really, really difficult. And again here, another moment that we really want to highlight is that inside movement of Mbuku all the time. You know, that as much as he's lopsided on the other side, the team is stretching the field, Elia is on the other side, then he still finds time to come really on the inside and combine, which is a clear sign of a team that has a clear tactical structure, especially around the box. When you're around the box and you want to beat this compact block, one of the ways that you do this is to combine. And of course, the Mutusi Cooper should have closed the gap there because the space between the two players there was too big. If the space is more than 12 or 15 meters in between, then you allow a team to be breached easily there. And there was bad defending, but good impetus and good creativity from Mbuku and Kakuta to come inside and realize the moment and finish.
And finish they did. It found the back of the net. We then see the next big opportunity that DR Congo gets in this encounter. And this one involves Ling Nanyane, who is a player coming into the starting 11. Unfortunate here to give that handball in favor of DRC, with the ref going to VAR and calling it and saying certain handball.
Yeah, Linanyana was caught ball watching initially. You know, you would like to believe that when the ball is rotated, you have a view of who you are marking, the space you're supposed to be covering, and where the ball is. So if the runner runs behind you, then they're catching you off guard. As soon as you see and identify the defender, you block the path, make sure that you secure the space where the ball can possibly go. So when you anticipate where the ball is going, the flow of the ball, the tempo of the game, it's easier to defend. So Linanyane was trying to recover with a sliding tackle, but as we know, when you slide, you are in trouble already because you have no control. You can see the ref says it's not, the hand is not in the normal position, but what are you doing when you're falling? The hand is probably out there.
Indeed. And Dr. Steenbok, I know you wanted to speak just in terms of breaking down that low block and take us through this one here. Yeah,
interesting. And we've been speaking about this in this tournament, that most of the goals occur from situations where teams are numerically superior. You know, you find that Botswana there, they've got 4 defenders who are really organized, you know. But what's key here is the verticality that comes from DRC and the willingness of the runner to take that kind of a space. We don't really see a lot of this from the Southern African teams, you know, teams which are ready to attack the space which is provided by the opponent. There was a clear example there where it was important for Jaira there to be able to get the ball for Elia there, but just that off-the-ball movement, you know, is very, very important. Most of the time, our players want to get the ball to feet, you know, and still play backwards there. But there you find a situation where a striker is ready, whilst inverted, to be able to run off the ball, which then create an opportunity that leads to a penalty. So a very, very good lesson there for young players there. And also, most of the Southern African teams that to say that it's not always that you play to feet and then your back is facing the goal, but sometimes off the ball running, it helps. And there it created a very good moment.
It does create that good moment, which eventually results in a penalty being given in the favor of DR Congo. And we saw the Sakaya Spor player in Kakuta stepping up. Quality penalty kick here. Quality.
I mean, he couldn't have taken it any better. Poko has had a great tournament, conceded a lot of goals, but he has had a great tournament. Goalkeeper who's made many saves. I mean, in one game, he had 14 saves, 9 in the box. Even today, you saw the 2-3 possible goals that he saved. So he's had a great tournament. It's unfortunate somebody has to lose.
Indeed, someone had to lose, and unfortunately today it was our neighbours in Botswana. We come into Iswamba Sesibilila and we see a Kakuta come back to complete his brace here, assisted by Bongonda coming off the bench. And what a nice fold-up here.
Yeah, I mean, DRC were just now sampling here. I mean, they had so much arsenal sitting on the bench. But again, stretching the play. And the difference here, we're speaking about this with Dipsy, is that most of our players, when they get there, they want to put in a cross without lifting the head. But there, Bongonda comes in there, creates space for himself, and then picks up Kakuta there, who finishes up there superbly there. Again, defense really breached, but it's because of the patience and the control and the confidence that is oozing, from this DRC team.
And that confidence oozing, perhaps, Dipsy, if we can get just your view in terms of how this ball came about, this goal.
Yeah, with the rotation from left to right, it will always create space on the weak side, on the blue area. That's the weak side. Remember, the ball is coming from the opposite side. So as soon as the ball comes into that area, it creates a one-on-one. The defender is turned, he has slipped right there, and the goal is behind them. They are nervous as soon as you come towards them. You can see he's going for the one-on-one. Here he is with him, takes him to the line and pulls the ball back. As you go to the byline, everybody rushes the goal.
There's 7 players from Botswana in that box.
Because ultimately
8 with the goalkeeper.
Ultimately, you think you are defending the goal by running into the goal. But remember, you can't score from where the ball is being crossed. So the next thing would be, where is the ball going? So you anticipate where the ball can possibly go. And as a defender, the connection is where you mark. And so if they pick up and close, because they have enough numbers, the problem is that they're all running towards the goal and they're desperate. So the ball being pulled back means the striker is all by himself. He can take 2 touches, 3 touches, and pick a spot. So defending, it was very poor, unfortunately. We can only learn from such.
Indeed, one of those positive takeaways is the learning experience. Dr. Steenberg, before we take a look at the next talking point, I want to touch on the depth of the quality that we've seen in this DR Congo side, because for a team that can make 7 changes to their starting 11 and they're still then able to bring some of those other players from the bench who can still have an impact in terms of the outcome of the game. Good depth here. Yeah,
of course, one would say that they already played, an eliminated team in Botswana. But what we saw today was really frightening. The ability of Kayembe and the ability of Kalulu as fullbacks to play inverted. And the fact that also, we're talking about this with Dipsy, across the front 3, they also have 3 left-footed players. I noted there Kakuta, Mutau, and of course Elia. So that really makes them, again, very dangerous, because then they have the ability to be able to play lopsided and to be able to change side. And the fact that today they didn't have Bakambu, they rested Bakambu, but they still brought in Mayele, who looked also fresh and hungry. So from a tactical point of view, the coach has really found the right ingredients to make this team very bright. And again, if you check the list, they've got players playing in Russia, in Spain, in Scotland, in Turkey. So this is a very dangerous team, that also plays without a lot of fear. You saw that they can attack and they can also be able to defend, And one thing that I also like about this team, they're also running, which is something that I haven't really seen. I'll be very critical for the Southern African teams, that we don't really run enough, But these teams, after losing the ball, especially the DRC, they put pressure on the ball carrier all along. So tactically superior, but again, they do the basics right with a smile.
And we speak about doing those basics right with a smile. We speak about the hunger of a Fiston Mayele, who came into the starting 11 today. We see him here get a goal, which is disallowed. And Dipsy, I thought this a nice learning and teaching point for our viewers at home in terms of why this goal is disallowed.
Yeah, the rules are quite clear. It's the shoulder and the upper side of the arm. So it's the upper side of the arm. I think that's what the referee has called for, because you see the little jackknife header there. He miscalculates the ball and it goes straight to the top part of the arm, not necessarily the shoulder. That's how I would look at it. I think it's the only reason why the ref would call for that. But he's all alone in the box, and he shouldn't be. Somebody has to mark him. If we're in the box, we have to pick someone. Pick someone. It doesn't matter who, but pick someone. Eventually, you'll be able to match up when the ball is delivered.
And unfortunately, he was alone in the box. He does find the back of the net, but Botswana will be happy that this was then a disallowed goal from the Pyramids FC player. The 31-year-old just aging like fine wine when it comes to his delivery on the field of play. And we speak about the difference in quality between these two sides. You look at a Botswana nation that only has 5 players that play outside of the Botswana League. When you go to DR Congo, every single player in this matchday squad plays abroad. None of them playing out in the DRC. Let's take you through to an ad break now. Masijike mva kwekhefu soqala nje ukuphetha indaba yethu yanamhlanje. And of course, this is how it's currently looking at the CAF Total Energies Africa Cup of Nations in terms of those 4 best placed third groups at the moment. It is Mozambique, that 3-2 victory against Gabon, crucial for them and giving them those 3 points. Sudan, of course, that upset against Equatorial Guinea, also coming in handy. Benin and then Tanzania also there with 2 points. And that's how it's looking in terms of the teams that will then progress also into the knockout stage of the competition. And we know in the last edition, this is exactly how the champions progressed. When we look at match day 3 and the final day of group games out at the Africa Cup of Nations, tomorrow we bring you Equatorial Guinea up against Algeria on SABC 2, whilst Sudan take on Burkina Faso on SABC 3. Both those games, the build-up starts at 5:30. Walter Steenbok, always an absolute pleasure. I want to get just your quick thoughts, 10 seconds on match day number 3 in Group E and F tomorrow.
I think it will go according to form. Cameroon, Algeria, Cote d'Ivoire, all of them will come through unscathed. You know, I'm just happy that at least Mozambique from COSAFA, you know, will have also a shout into the last 16. You know, so at least we've got South Africa and Mozambique who will represent us there. Indeed.
Dipsy, a lovely one. Your thoughts?
I mean, I'd really follow you on this one. We hope we have real representation there. Yeah, South Africa has made it. We hope Mozambique can make it. With the big West African countries and North, we expect them to be there based on experience and what they have shown.
Indeed, and of course, in terms of umdlalo besilethela wona namhlanje, it is Senegal that will take on now E3 out in Group E, which we will find out tomorrow who finishes off in the 3rd position. But as for Cameroon, we'll see who they take on, but the Democratic Republic of Congo, they will be taking on the North Africans in Algeria in the knockout stage of the competition. From myself, Dr. Walter Steenbok, Dipsy Silolwane, and the rest of the team, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Have yourselves a good evening, and may God bless you.